you just gave me some harrowing news that we've come home to find one of our cats is missing some whiskers.
Have we introduced our listeners to the fact that we have 2 more cats now?
I don't know if we have, but one of them is on your lap right now. This is
Salem. AKA Baby Boy.
Baby Boy.
Then we have Sabrina, AKA Baby Girl. And yeah, I don't think that we ever talked about this.
We might have talked about you fostering on the first episode, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it.
Yeah, all I know is just quick rehash. This is Salem, and I'm pretty sure he has been chewing his sister's whiskers off on one side of her face, because when we got back today from like a quick staycation, her whiskers on one side of her face are like 1.5 inches long, and she kept running into things.
Oh.
It was really sad. Also funny.
I think the culprit is Herc. That's who I think it is, actually.
Really?
Herc gets really rough with them.
He does get rough, but I feel like, that would have to be a really sharp claw to like either slice through them all at the same time, or that looks like someone's been chewing on him.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird, though.
I don't know. She's into weird stuff, so.
Well, now we have to deal with that hanging over the podcast as we try to record today.
Yeah. What are we talking about today? We're talking about, where did we leave off? The Dodgers game?
Well, I think before we get to the Dodgers game, you want to talk about our Roomba, who has been missing for days now. And we are beginning to fear the worst.
I know where Dottie is. Okay, so I got a Roomba. Costco had a Roomba deal, and I was like, you know what? We have 5 cats and a dog. And while our dog is part poodle and does not like leave fur and hair everywhere, our cats do. And we have 3 black cats living in a predominantly light colored home. And
these new ones are long-haired cats, which all the rest of ours have been short hairs.
That's true. Like Salem, who you just saw, I don't know if you got a glimpse of his tail, but when he puts it all the way up, his fur is so long that it tilts forward, like towards his back. Hairy. It's a lot to deal with. So I got a Roomba because I didn't want to vacuum every day. And I figured we'll just have this one upstairs. It'll be fine. So they do recommend that before you use your Roomba, you're supposed to vacuum one last time with like your normal vacuum and then use the Roomba every day. I did not, because screw that.
That's like telling people to brush their teeth before going to the dentist. It's like, that's your job.
I also brush my teeth before I go see the dentist.
It's just a funny thing to be like, for this to work really well, make sure your carpet's really vacuumed.
Yes. So I set it all up, and it's great. The problem is that it just like basically pushes like the very long black cat fur and makes like little stripes of it. Like just little, they're just little pilled hair balls all over the carpet. And it makes me feel like it's dirtier than if it was just spread out to the point that I couldn't see where it all was.
Pilled hair balls is just a really gross way of putting that.
And then get this. So it had only been running. So I did eventually give up and just, real time vacuum. And then the Roomba actually was doing a very good job of upkeeping that. So, the way that it explains to do it in the first place. But there are these like 2 rollers on the bottom of the Roomba. And then there's like a weird brush. Anyway, the rollers are supposed to go in opposite directions to like roll stuff together to then be sucked up into the Roomba abyss. Great. And it's a self-emptying Roomba, which is also nice. So it doesn't just get stranded. It just goes back to its little home port, empties itself, and then like continues on its merry way, which is great. But the rollers were like, hey, we've been used to the point that we would not expect, except for after a year of use. So we need you to clean us now. And so it stopped working. A Roomba, Dottie, I named her, is stuck under our bed.
Why'd you go with Dottie?
I don't know. It seemed like a cute, Dottie's upstairs cleaning. I don't know. And then it's a big dot. The Roomba's a big circle.
Oh, a big dot.
Yeah.
You're a clever lady.
Yeah, so I'm returning Dottie because she's...
Oh, we're not using her anymore?
I mean, like, no.
Oh. I liked her.
Did you?
I thought she was going to be put back in her spot. I thought she got lost.
And I mean, she did get lost, but it's because she was like, hey, we need maintenance on my parts. And I'm like, you've been used for a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Oh. All right. Is this baby girl? I want to see her whiskers.
No, this baby boy.
She's behind you.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Come here.
Catch her.
Come here, kitten. No. She knew we wanted to look at her.
It's the left side of her face.
To look at that.
She was like needing, so we got this electric blanket also from Costco. We're big Costco fans over here. And she was like needing it on me when we got back. And she was so excited that she had her people back. And then I was like, what the heck happened to your face? It was pretty funny. So when I was a little kid, actually, the only reason that I think that it's one of our cats like chewing it is because when I was really little, I was like 7, and we got this brother and sister like pair of kittens, and we named them Mischief and Mayhem. And Mischief, the little girl, she was black and white and short haired. And my mom came up to me one day and was like, Adrienne, are you cutting Mischief's whiskers?
Are you cutting our cat's whiskers? Are you blaming?
Stop it.
You're the...
Stop. I am not cutting our cat's
You're
whiskers.
the consistent factor here.
I'm just making them dependent on me. Yeah, so I was like, no, do they need to be cut? I was so confused. I did not understand. And I apparently looked genuine enough that even my own mom, with all of her history, did not push me on it. And then she just kind of watched the cats for a while and realized that Mayhem, her brother, was just chomping down on her whiskers while she was asleep all the time. And they were just like these really little kittens, like not even 3 months old yet. But the vet was really concerned and was like, ma'am, if your children are cutting their whiskers, it's like gonna really impact them, because cats need their whiskers to show like what they can fit through and like, you know, spatial awareness, and it's connected to their like their skeletal muscle and stuff. Anyway, so when I saw that Sabrina's whiskers are like super short now, and it's like she has like 2 long ones on this side and all of the others are like this short. It's so funny.
Poor thing. We're joined by many of our cats today.
Yeah.
They like listening to us podcast. Well, that's what's going on with the cats.
The majority of our listeners.
That's what's going on with the Roomba. And, the cats are the majority of the listeners. Yeah. I wish they would leave a GD iTunes review, Gray.
No, she would be sassy. She'd be like, 3 stars.
Oh, that's probably true. Let's look at... We have a theme going our past couple episodes of annoying fans, but now's your time to air your grievances.
Okay.
As we took a surprise trip, thanks to our friend Andrew. Yeah, just spill your drink all over the ground. That's
Sorry, cool. I was just really ready to step on my soapbox.
And we went and saw the Braves play the Dodgers.
Okay, when you say surprise trip, what happened is it was almost Memorial Day.
It was a surprise.
Labor Day.
It wasn't like a surprise for you. It was just like
Labor Day.
It was a
it was a spontaneous trip.
Surprise.
Where Jordan, like, you know, Labor Day is on Monday, and he was like, hey, do we have plans this weekend? He's talking to me on Thursday or Wednesday. I don't know beforehand. It doesn't really matter.
Interesting knowing which day it is.
I'm just saying that it was like a day and a half notice, but he was like, do we have plans this weekend? I was like, no, but we have Monday off, which is great. Thank goodness. I need a break. And he was like, awesome. So Andrew really wants to go see the Dodgers. And I thought he was kind of kidding, but can we go to LA this weekend?
I'm more sensitive to your needs than you're framing this.
Are you?
I am. Because I was like, I was willing to go by myself, but also I wanted to hang out with you. I also knew it probably wasn't the most fun thing for you.
No, you weren't willing to go by yourself. You're like, I'm not going to go unless you go with me. I want to hang out with you. Granted, we'd had like...
If you had told me that to go by myself, I would have gone. But I felt bad leaving you when you wanted... We were planning to hang out.
Oh, you were insinuating you wouldn't go without me. I'm not mad. I'm glad that I went, but...
I'm just saying.
I like
it was a hard
fight.
Situation, and it's all Andrew's fault.
And then you won.
No, it just sounded fun. Like, let's fly. Let's do something crazy. We'll fly to Los Angeles.
It really was. It was a blur. So he was like, do you want to go? Do you want to go see the Dodgers play? And I was like, I don't care about baseball, but LA sounds kind of cool, I guess. Sure. Screw it. Let's go. And so
Screw it.
he planned it. He got us tickets.
Yep.
And then we stayed at a hotel that The Dark Knight was filmed in.
Yeah. What was that place called? There's a pretty famous, I mean, it's a Marriott brand now, so I don't know how famous it is. But yeah, all over. They have tons of movies been filmed there. But Dark Knight was one of them. I think the dinner scene when he jumps in the water. That's what I guess. But,
and it is a very dark and moody vibe with weird elevators. It's very strange architecture.
Yeah, it's cool though. That's the trash can outside if you can hear on the mics.
Yeah, it's getting emptied for us because we're homeowners and we put it out.
Weird flex, babe. What's this cat doing behind you?
I don't know.
Anyway, so we went to the dock. We got 2 games. We did a Saturday night game and a Sunday morning game. And then we were flying.
We went on Sunday. We did. It was really fun.
Don't act like you keep the Sabbath day holy.
Stop it.
I know who you are.
It was really fun.
But the first night, and this has been an issue in our marriage before. I don't know if this was we were podcasting.
Keeping the
at the
Sabbath
time.
day holy?
Yeah. No, just annoying fans.
Oh. Yes.
Because, as you know from our previous episode, I am annoyed by people that are over the top annoying. Movie theaters, it doesn't take a whole lot to get there. I do get annoyed by sports fans, but I am of the opinion, I just think it's hard to enforce fans that are cheering or whistling, in this case that we'll get into. Mm-hmm. It's hard for the arena to force people being like...
You have to do it within a certain decibel range or something.
Yes.
Like, I get it.
But...
Like, they're just enthusiastic. Everyone's here to enjoy the game. But there's a point.
Yeah, so you just tell because I agree with this guy's annoying. I get anxiety because I'm like, I don't know how we win in this situation. But you ended up winning.
So my philosophy has always been your rights end where they start infringing on someone else's. And this was the case. So we are at the Dodgers game.
And where Adrienne first sees that is when they wouldn't let her, they stopped praying in public schools.
And I was like, yes, this is against my rights to be Christian publicly. Although you didn't say who I was praying to. It could have been Satan.
Taylor Swift.
Oh, all hail. She's amazing. Love you, Tay-Tay. Okay, so we're at this Dodgers game. It's kind of hot outside, whatever. It's just setting the scene. It smells a lot like hot dogs and sweat. So there we are in our seats, just enjoying ourselves. Hobbs, or our friend Andrew Hobbs, he got roasted peanuts. We're kind of snacking on them. And you never know how much you actually kind of like roasted peanuts until you're at a baseball game. Like, I don't care for them any other time in my life. And then in the Dodgers seats, I was like, this makes sense. This is how it should be. So there we are, minding our own business. And I don't know, what was it, like 8 to 10 rows behind us? There's this guy sitting there. He's the top row next to the stairs.
Yeah.
And he is a Dodgers fan. We were there rooting for the Atlanta Braves, who they were playing. And I mean, we were rooting for them, but I was wearing blue because I'm afraid of conflict.
The story will suggest
Not
otherwise.
really. Psych. Okay, so he starts whistling. And whistling is not like the best sound in any situation. But when you're doing like the fingers in your mouth whistling and it blasts through time and space.
Piercing ears. It was annoying.
It gets me a little worked up. Okay.
And here's the other thing. We're 8 rows ahead of him. So it's insane how loud this is.
Yeah, because we're ahead and to the right. So we're like a little dispersed. And I do understand that sound goes, but anyway, it was rough. And he was crazy loud. And he was pretty clearly, he didn't care about anyone else's feelings.
Yes.
So, I had turned around.
And did you mention he's whistling not at normal points people should whistle? It was not like big plays would happen and he would be cheering, his whistle would come in.
Yeah, like, in basketball or something, when someone's about to go do free throws, you cheer, you hoop, you holler, whatever, because you're trying to distract the person. Like, I get it, whatever, live and let live. No, he was just doing it incessantly.
And specifically when it would get quiet, he would do it. And then he would go, Mookie, because he's cheering for Mookie Betts, but just to give a little flavor to it. The cats are fighting.
She's probably about to lose some more whiskers. Should we go intervene? I don't know.
No.
We'll let them sort it out themselves. So he's just being a nuisance. He's just being annoying.
And it's consistent.
Consistent and piercing, like to the point where like the kids in the row in front of me were like holding their hands over their ears and looking around like, what the heck? Like adults are pretending like they don't notice because they just don't want to get into a conflict. That's where I come in. So I don't care about conflicts. I want people who are being jerks to stop being jerks. And I will take one for the team. So I stood up. And I turned around and I said, sir. And then he pretended that he didn't see me.
Yeah, he's just kind of looking.
like directly to the left or right of me.
You were definitely within his peripheral vision.
Like not even peripheral. Just like if someone stood up a few rows in front of you, you would see them.
Yeah.
And I waved my hand and said, sir. And then I turned to Jordan and I'm like, oh my gosh, am I being a Karen? And he's like, no, he's so annoying. And I was like, okay, thank goodness. So to all the Karens out there, you still suck, but like, I will say
my stress is that it's perceived, because I think you're right, he's very annoying, but it's very hard for venues to not see that just as a Karen thing. You know what I mean? Because it's a sporting event where they want people cheering.
Because it's like, oh, he was cheering too loud. And they're like, go watch it on your TV where you can mute the volume then. Like, I understand. But this was distracting. We were not the only ones impacted. It was reverberating in my head, and I had had enough. And we are not even through the top of the first inning.
But you didn't complain to the people before was the confrontation with the other guy, right?
That's true. I had just stood up and I was like, sir, hey, can you just tone it down a little bit? Maybe just whistle during the plays. And then he pretended that he didn't see me. And I was like, really? Because also I looked really cute that day. Like I looked so cute that day. So I know he saw me. And that made it even worse. And so then I sat down and was like, I'm fuming. So because he kept whistling, to be a jerk about it. He pretended he couldn't hear me, and then he was doing it louder, harder, more frequently. Exactly. And I was like, okay, you're the worst. So then they have this like number that you can call. So I tried calling it, but then he's so loud in my ear, I can't even hear. And then I was on hold and I was like, I hate everything. Because I was just trying to complain to be like, hey, can someone just tell him to like tone it down? Because he's clearly not listening to me, even though I look super cute today. So maybe he'll listen to security. I don't know. But to Jordan's point, that is a hard line to draw. But this is when the line got way easier, because the guy directly in front of him, who has had to deal with quite a bit up until this point. He stands up and he turns around and he's like, hey man, can you quiet it down a little bit? And this guy,
he says, spit flying out of his mouth, and he's standing over the guy because he's a row above him.
Yeah, he stands up to his whole height, puts his arms out.
F-U-P. He uses the real words, though, which we don't say on this podcast because it's a children's show.
Is it a children's show?
I don't know.
We don't use the real words because Jordan's a little afraid.
F-U-P word for female anatomy. Right.
Pelvis.
Spittle flying in this guy's face. And
like seriously, the guy like wipes his face off.
And so Adrienne's yelling. At that point, I turn around and yell at him.
Because I stand up and I'm like,
and I'm not a yeller.
Not okay. You cannot do that. Violence is not the option. Like I'm screaming. It's like
not the option. It's always an option.
It's not the option we choose, Jordan.
But that's not the phrase.
I know.
It's not the answer.
It was heated. Okay. So then I'm like, hey, calm it down. Like, there's no excuse for that. Like, figure it out. Like, everyone's annoyed by you, dude. Anyway, so he's screaming. He sits down and then he keeps whistling, like aiming it in this guy's ear. And I'm like, you are the kind of person that I could watch die and feel nothing for. And just to put in perspective, I saved 2 grasshoppers today from my cats because I don't like it when things suffer.
Not crickets, though. They make too loud a noise.
And they just like wiggle their little legs and make noise. It's gross. Like, keep it together, crickets.
Okay, continue.
You're the one who did the sign tangent. I did yes and you hated it.
Violence is not the option.
It's not this option. So then I stand up and I'm like, excuse me. And I walk over like the 4 people outside of our party that I have to get over to get to the aisle. And I go and I find security. And I'm like, look, this guy is swearing. He is using vulgar language. He threatened another man. And then the security people kind of look at me and they're like, was that man in your party? And I was like, no, he was not. But I also tried to intervene and he just ignored me. And they're like, well, what was his behavior? And I was like, well,
he was whistling.
He is whistling incessantly, but it is very loud. And they're like, man, we can't tell him not to whistle. But you're saying he was threatening people. And because he did say, I'm going to F you up to this guy too.
Yeah.
Like he kept screaming.
It was insane how intense he got all of a sudden.
Like veins bulging, spittle flying. This guy's like less than 6 inches from his face. And it was just like windshield wipers should have been needed after. So then I tell them what I saw. And then they're like, okay, ma'am, go back to your seat. Like we'll talk to him. So I'm like, okay, thank you. And they were very nice to me. While not believing me initially off the bat, they were still very nice. And I understand that. I came up and I was like, there was this gentleman and he is being extremely vulgar. So I did look like a Karen, but I just wanted to seem professional. It was a difficult balance. Okay. So I start walking down the stairs and I can't remember what he said anymore, but he said something about my derriere.
Did you say something? Because I think you came down and said...
Well, I started coming down and he said, I'm going to keep whistling just for you, baby. Turn that A right around. Let me watch you walk away.
You can say ass. It's in the Bible. I think it's okay.
Okay. He was like, turn your ass around. Let me watch you walk it away. And so I turned around. So he could see it. Just kidding. No. So he could see my face. And I was like, hey, your enthusiasm is appreciated. But if you could just tone it down so everyone could enjoy the game, that would be great. And, I said it with venom. I mean, duh. But at least those were the words that I used. And then I see the security people at the top of the stairs.
But then he went, are you done? Isn't that what he said? And then he said, sit your ass down.
Yeah. He was like, you done? You done yet? Sit your ass down. He did call me the B word as well. And then I was staring at the security people because I'm looking up at the stairs, right? And he's on like the top level and the security people are like 5 feet behind him. And then I look at them and I'm like, did you see that? Like, did you see that?
Talking about your butt.
Are you kidding me? Like he singled me out, told me he was going to keep doing this just to annoy me, and then was commenting about me sexually in a way that I did not appreciate. Even though I did look really cute that day. And I cannot stress this enough. And so I walked back up and I was like, are you going to do anything about that? Like I told you that he was threatening people and then you just saw that interaction. And then they were like, ma'am, you gotta sit down. We have to give him a warning first. And yes, we saw it, but we couldn't hear everything. And you did stop. You shouldn't have stopped. And I was like, this is victim blaming, but I will trust you. I was so mad. But I was like, fine, whatever. You have to follow your policy. That's fine. Just as long as this stops. So I'm going to go back to my seat. And they're like, okay. And I come back and then like the people in my row were like, thank you. Because nobody likes conflict. And I'm like, why not? It can get you what you want. And then the security went and talked to him. And I pulled him aside for a minute, and then the whistling went way down.
Yeah. He still did it a couple times, but they were more appropriate times, and it was...
Which is fine. Whatever. You can whistle at appropriate times. You just can't, like, give everyone migraines.
Yeah. And Andrew was there the whole time. And it's funny, Andrew admitted this. He was like, yeah, this happened. I just kept pretending I didn't know what was going on. Because Andrew kept being like, wait, what's happening? Wait, what's going on? You coward. You coward, Andrew Hobbs. No, I felt bad because... Andrew's the baseball guy.
I know. He just wanted to watch the game.
Watch the game.
And I'm like, I will literally fight this dude. He was clearly drunk. He was there with his kid who looked very uncomfortable. And all I wanted to do was kick out his guardian from the premises.
Yeah.
Okay, but the best part is the Dodgers lost.
Yeah.
And he did not stick around to watch it.
They lost right at the end, too. It was sweet. And it was funny. As you were yelling at him, there was this kid behind me. Do you remember this kid? And he goes, just let the guy whistle. And we were like, no. So I think most people were annoyed.
He said that to you. I had already stood up and was walking out. But then the same guy, we were trying to take a selfie at the end of the game because the Astros won. We were excited, whatever. I didn't really care, but like, we're in it. Let's do it. So we took the picture, but then it wasn't very good. And he was like, do you want me to take the picture? And we're like, oh, sure. And then Jordan later was like, maybe just let the guy whistle.
He was being, he
was a peacemaker.
He was a Christ figure in this world of contention that we were in.
And he got crucified. He did not.
I hope not.
No harm came to this fellow. I just have who does this? I was raised in a way where I overly compensate for the feelings of those around me, where I will put like, oh, you want me to bury myself alive so someone else can have like a plot of land to stand on? Great. I will do that for you because my existence is a nuisance and you are to, be elevated. And the people who come into life and like public events being like, I'm the most important person here and I'm going to make you all suffer for my existence.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Not interesting. I feel like it's gotten worse since COVID too. I think people just forgot like how to be in groups and have not recovered yet, even though we're a couple of years out of it.
They're like, hey, we got out of the habit and we're just going to stay that way.
But it's very similar to my feeling about movies. It's just like, can we just be normal people here? I don't know.
Like, let's just be in an area together and be considerate. That's it. Like, I want you to have a good time. I want you to hoot and holler and do all your stuff. Just like be considerate.
Yeah, it's wild. We seem like really lame parents right now, but I stand by everything we've said.
Oh, can you imagine when we do have children?
Oh.
If that day ever comes, we will be the lamest.
I don't believe in child abuse, but if that kid makes a noise at his first Pixar movie.
You will wait till we go to the soundproof box. I do like that Megaplex has those.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mostly because I feel for people like my sister who have to like leave the theater in a movie, but now they just get to go to a box where the sounds of their child reverberate, but they can still hear the movie and nobody else can hear them.
I wish you could just request certain people to go in there, even if they don't have kids. Like you press a button, that's the people talking, and they go escort
If you get enough votes, you have to go in.
Honestly, it's not terrible. I wouldn't like it, but maybe it's the only way forward is to have like a soundproof talking section. And you want to buy tickets where you can chat. There's a soundproof section in the middle that...
I'm for it.
Yeah. I would rather people be good, but I don't have faith.
But I don't want them in the middle. If you're going to talk, you don't deserve the best seats.
Yeah. Well, jazz season tickets are starting up, and we're probably going to have more stories just like this.
Probably will. Did you have any, like, during that altercation, I know that you did start yelling, but were you ever, like, scared about my level of involvement?
Scared about your level of involvement.
Or, like, did you ever wish, like, will you just let it go?
Nah, well, maybe initially, but once he was really mean to the guy in front of him, then I'm like, unleash the Kraken. That's you. To go get him. I mean, it's enough where I yell.
I yell pretty reeled in.
That's kind of a scary voice I yelled in, which I don't really yell in. But
I know. It was the most arousing situation. And too bad we shared a hotel suite with Hobbs because it was expensive. So we did like a suite. So there was like a bedroom and then like an open area. And so he had the pull out couch and then we had the bedroom. But yeah, when you started yelling, I was like, You care? I love this.
Nice. Good to know.
Yeah. So now all we have to do to keep our relationship alive is go to public events.
And it usually happens. Yeah. Although not me yelling, but that guy was
that guy was a tool.
I was nervous when it was over and you like want to go get more food or something. I was like, don't go walk by. I still want to be mean to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I knew you could hold your own.
Because I got up and I was like, oh, hey, I want some popcorn. I'll get you another Diet Coke or whatever. And you were like, but he's still there. Like, you don't have to walk past him. Like, we don't have to go do that. Just like stay here. And then we checked and he was already gone. So it was fine.
Then I was not very much nervous, but a tiny bit nervous that the next day's game that he would also be there and you were gone for a long time because you went to the shop.
Oh, yeah. Okay, because here's the thing. It was the Astros Dodgers series, whatever, and I guess
Braves.
it had been
Braves Dodgers.
Braves Dodgers. What did I say?
Astros.
Oh yeah, that is not the right team. I was like, wait, I don't understand.
Yeah, the Astro Dodgers.
Sorry, I said it with an A because it's Atlanta Braves. Yeah. Apologies. Not a baseball person. Disclaimer. So
pretty obvious.
The Dodgers have like a pretty cool stadium. They have a bunch of shops, a bunch of like cool things to do, some history that you can walk through. I think baseball is one of the most boring sports known to mankind. When it is exciting, it's really exciting. And when it's not really exciting, it's the worst.
I've just learned to love it this year, mostly because of gambling, but I've learned to love it. But so I have no animosity. People say it's boring because I thought it was boring for 34 years.
Yes. So I'm still in that stage. His mom used to be like, there was a team in Utah or something, right? Like,
I think it was just a small school thing, but
it was a small school thing.
She was a Dodger cheerleader.
Yes. And so we thought it would be really cute if we got her some Dodgers memorabilia. So, sorry, this is cliche, but I'm a woman and I like shopping.
Women be shopping.
So I went and I just explored while the boys were sitting in full sun. My redheaded husband in full sun, and he was like, "This is perfect." And
no, we did get the thickest sunscreen.
We got the most expensive, thickest sunscreen at our hotel.
Like you couldn't rub it in; it just made a white covering on your body.
Completely. It was mineral sunscreen. And I'm like, oh, this is good. Like it'll last for a little bit longer. It wouldn't rub in, so we just looked like we were painting ourselves whiter, which, I mean, you can see us. We don't. There's no purpose. We are the lightest shade of porcelain. So he was like streaked in this sweat encased white mineral stuff. And I was like, I will leave and go to the shade and air conditioning solace of the Dodgers shopping. Here's the thing. The biggest shopping experience that you can do at the Dodgers Stadium is like level 7. Do you know how long it took to get on the elevator? So long. So
again, just want to point out she's not being a Karen about this. I just want to, we're all on the same page.
Stop. So I went to like 3 different locations to try to find something fun. Like we try to get some memorabilia stuff for his parents usually when we go places. His dad loves hats, and his mom, especially since she was a Dodgerette, like she lit up like the sun when we brought stuff to her. But I got her a little tiny sized baseball bat with a real baseball that said Dodgers on it, and then a huge stuffed baseball that also said Dodgers on it, and then a little I wanted to say Dodgers, but it said LA on it instead, but it was like a little teddy bear in a cheerleader outfit. And so then I just put the Dodgers baseball in it and showed the Dodgers instead of LA. But she like got teary. She was so excited.
Did you get teary?
Yeah. And then I found out that she was a Dodgerette in like the 6th grade, but has like held on to this piece.
I think it's mostly my dad that brings it up anytime.
I'm like, I don't even remember myself in the 6th grade. I don't know what I did.
You weren't great.
You don't know.
I've heard.
From my family.
So
I think that's the end of the saga. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah. The whole point was you were gone for a long time. And I'm like, that guy find her.
I really was gone for like an hour and a half because the lines were really long. And like to get up the elevator took forever. Like it really did. It probably took like 35 minutes to get up the elevator.
And just to end this, because you brought it up, this whole thing about worrying, because I was worrying. On our anniversary trip, you asked me, Jordan, are you a warrior? And I thought you said warrior, like fighting.
We were in a hot tub. There were jets going. Like, I understand.
I mean, they're very similar words.
But we were just kind of bird watching in the fall foliage. And I'm like, are you a warrior?
And I so quickly said no.
He was like, not at all.
And you're like, oh, I just wonder if you were like your dad. And I'm like, my dad's not really a... And then
he was like, what do you mean? My dad's not really like a warrior. And I was like, he's the biggest warrior that I've ever known.
But it's really cool to say no to being a warrior, but not as cool to say no to being a warrior. So I wish I just would have let it sit. And
I love that since T Swift is my lady, that she has an interview where it's the opposite, where some reporter is like, are you a warrior? And she was like, yes, I worry about everything. And I was like, aw, you yin and yanged T Swift. It's perfect.
We were born the same year. I'm her biggest fan.
You were born the same year. And then I keep asking, you're also a performer. Why is there a discrepancy in what you guys have accomplished?
There's not. I just like smaller and more intimate crowds. I'm not into the big shows. I like smaller shows. Please buy tickets to my next
Herc is backing away from you underneath the chair right now.
Good, because I like more intimate shows, Herc. All right, let's end this episode. Give them your classic sign-off, babe.
Thanks for listening to all my thoughts. I don't know, like and subscribe. Is that a thing that is still... I hear it on other places. And also, if you enjoy my fanatic defense of public events being nice for everyone, go ahead and listen to the next episode. I don't know what else to do. I feel awkward. I'm getting sweaty.
You're not talking more about that, though. You're just saying if you like this, you'll like the other content? Or do you
yes.
Okay. Well said.